I love Christmas.
I love Christmas.
And there are only 245 days until Christmas. I just looked it up because I work at Build Bear Workshop, and we decided this year that we wanted to do like free gift wrapping for our customers. Come up with something so that all the bear builders that I work with will be able to wrap the presents the same way. They gave me 3 different boxes, so this, figure out how to wrap that, but I don't know exactly how to go about that. What are, like, because there are a lot of problems that come.
I'm not really good at it. I bag everything.
Why are you bad at it though?
I always have like excess like amount of wrapping paper, and then like it just doesn't fold.
Right? Or too short, because I'm worried that someone will be wrapping a present and then it'll be too short and then they'll have to start over. Make a way so that every girl can cut the exact size piece of wrapping paper.
Per box, so like different things for each box, or just?
I'm not sure. I think we'll have to test that. But I think if we could come up with an equation or something so that any girl like that gets given this box, they can cut the piece of wrapping paper for it, and they're not gonna have to start over and do some geometry. If we're gonna measure the dimensions, we need to know what their proper names are called. You know, like what is this called?
The width.
Is it?
Is it? That's the width, and that's the length.
This is, what about the height? Because it's and just label it that way.
Okay.
We don't get confused. So
Length.
and let's draw like an arrow this way. So what's the first step when wrapping a present? I have some wrapping paper, so we don't just have to guess.
I usually just put the box.
So when you pull it over, what part of the box are you covering?
The length.
You're covering the length, yeah. So let's take this off so we can see our box. And so when we cut our wrapping paper, we have, if this was our wrapping paper, we have this side and we have this side. Are we gonna need 1 equation for this or 2?
Well, I would think 2.
Okay.
Because I haven't done something with height in a very long time.
Well, how many cuts are we going to be making in the wrapping paper?
1. Just 1. I mean, we could just make.
Unless we use the whole roll or the whole length, we might have to make 2 cuts. Because if we just made 1 cut, we're going to have a whole lot of excess.
Could just cut it this way.
Right, and then cut it that way. So knowing that we're going to have to make 2 cuts now, how many equations are we going to have to make?
2.
We want to cover this whole box, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when cutting wrapping paper, it's pretty, what's the easiest part about it?
The taping.
The taping's easy. And then when you wrap it, do you usually have too much on top, or when you're trying to fold the sides?
The sides.
The sides. So the easier part is the part that covers which part of the box? Like covering the sides or covering this way?
This way. The length and that's easier.
Mm-hmm. So we know that 1 cut we make is going to cover the easier part.
Yes.
So
we
let's
want to
focus
like
on
cut
that.
this part first, and then we can cut off the excess.
And figure out what we should do with that.
With the height.
So for the easy part, it's going to cover what of this box? How do you want to turn it? Do you want to turn it like this or like that? It's up to you.
We can do it this way.
This way? Okay.
Yes.
And do you want to bring the wrapping paper over this way or like that?
This way first.
Okay.
So
if
we'll be covering the length.
When you cut your paper, we are cutting it so that it covers this distance.
Okay.
If you were folding it this way, you'd be covering the length.
True. Okay.
I don't know if it'll help, but you could like wrap it around the box and see if that helps, or we can measure it. I have and
it's okay. So now, do I need to use the ruler and measure this bad boy?
What does this represent?
The entire. No, the width. No, the height of it, and the width, and the length, all of it.
Let's put it back on the box and then look at our labeling and see how it covers it.
So the width.
So it covers this one, and then what about? I can
the
hold this
height.
string. And the height. How many? Like, does it just cover this height, or is it covered on the other
The
heights
both.
too?
So 2 heights.
And then 2 what?
And then 2 widths.
I
No,
think.
well, is it 1 width? Because it's only.
Well, this, we have that as width, but then it's also, we want the bottom of our box to be racked.
True.
So your
Yeah.
string went, how would we write that in terms, this distance in terms of width and height and length?
Would I use a ruler? And-
Just like, how would you write the equation in terms of
oh,
width
then
and
2
height?
width, 2 times width and 2 times height.
Mm-hmm. And so that would give us
The answer of
to one of our sides,
Yes.
to one of our cuts. Yeah, so let's go ahead and write that down so we don't forget
Okay.
it. Okay, so we have the equation for side 1. Now let's go ahead and just make that cut, because we know we're going to be making 2 cuts.
Okay.
Here is the string if you want to go by your string measurement. I also have a ruler, and this wrapping paper is the fancy kind, and each one of these squares is an inch.
too. I'm ready for Christmas now.
I know! I'm so excited. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this and make sure it covers
Okay.
everything that we want it to. Oh, the tricky part.
Would be this part of the
And
height, length, and height again, right? Because it's going.
You're folding so that it would cover all of this. So now, what's the part of the box we don't have covered?
Oh, that's why I always have so much.
So now you can use this all the time.
Yay!
Knowing that,
We just really have to figure out the measurement of this.
and then we also have to think that when we're cutting it though, you said something about the length. Why? Like you're not gonna, the length's already covered, but why does it affect how you're gonna cut it?
Oh, because you have to make sure you leave enough room for the length to be included.
This cut really only tells us how, like, if it was this thin, it's just telling us right there.
Yes.
But our second cut is going to cover the
All.
length as well.
Okay.
We know it's 3 inches, but what about in terms of our variables? Width, height, and length, what is it?
I just never thought of like wrapping paper with using math before.
What did you just measure with this?
I did the length and both of the heights. So.
Well, let's think
Oh,
about
the
this.
equation.
So what, this string represents what in terms of?
Both heights and both lengths.
And so if we have
So-
something that matches both heights and both lengths, that means we're going to cover all of this bird,
This side with the heights and this.
the
with
top
the
and the.
bottom.
And so when you did this, you also covered the top. How wide this needs to be.
Okay, so would I just do the length of it and not the height since we already put the height?
And so if we just did the length, you'd be right in that because we need to get this covered.
But we need to leave. a
But
little
we
bit of
also
extra.
need to leave
the side for the
so
two
that we can
heights.
do the 2 heights, right?
So would I do 1 length times?
Well, let's see. So this is our length, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then,
I can't. do
okay.
straight lines.
So what did you say the final equation was? Let's write it down so we don't. So let's go ahead and make that cut and see if it worked. If we need to try something else.
Okay. Never thought of wrapping paper in this way. I was just so excited. I'm going to go call my dad after this and ask him if he's ever thought of wrapping paper this way.
Oh, for our accessory box, we're gonna make 2 cuts, and one of our cuts is going to be our side 1, which was what, and our other side that we're gonna cut
Is
was,
2 height and 1 of the lengths.
and that equals what? The equation has to have. Now, something you said before we started this is, do we need a different equation for each box? What do you think now that you've done this?
No.
No, why not? Or do you
Because,
not think
like,
so?
it's going to be the same kind of procedure.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, yes, that height is like larger
It's
than
different.
that height, but like
It's
gonna
still
work.
the height. Right. Are you cutting side 1 or side 2
I am doing
from our formula?
side. I want to label first.
Yes. That we found the perfect equation to cutting the paper. I want you to try to figure out on your own how to cut a piece of ribbon for the box. And I want the ribbon that goes this way, and then the ribbon that goes this way.